What's up guys, welcome back, and in today's video we're going through make.com operations, everything you need to know to work with operations so that you're getting the most out of your make.com scenarios. Having this skill set of maximizing your operations enables you not to waste operations on non-essential tasks and processes. So let's get right into it. So first of all, I don't like assuming that we're all in the same page. So let's first define what's an operation. So every time a module in your make scenario performs an action, one operation is consumed. So for example, adding a row to your Google Sheets, that's one operation consumed. If it adds 3 rows, those are 3 operations consumed. It's important to note that not all modules consume operations. So for example, routers and filters, which we touched on the previous video, they don't consume any operations. Also, error handler modules, which we'll touch on future videos, don't consume any operations. Okay? But also take note that the first module always consumes a single operation. So for example, if you have an email address that customers send their complaints to there, then we have our first module within make.com, the scenario itself, to be checking in for any new email addresses. Then we set it to check for new emails every 15 minutes or something. So every time it calls the email address to check if there are new emails, one operation is consumed. It doesn't matter if it retrieves 5 or 10 or even 100 new emails, it will consume one operation. Even if it returns 0 new emails, it still consumes one operation. Okay, so it's important to know the number of operations that are consumed every time your scenario is run, so that you don't run out of scenarios, because once you run out of your monthly operations, your scenarios get paused, so no automation continues. So I'd like us to be practical here. This channel is all about being practical so that we be able to nail it down. So I've created a scenario that checks to see if there are any new customer complaints that have been added to a Google Sheets row. Then if there are any new customer complaints within that Google Sheets, an email is sent to our, let's say, customer success team, so that the complaint can be handled accordingly. So it's a Google Sheets. Let me just show you. Here you go. You can see the sheets is called customer complaints, and it has name, email, phone, and the complaint itself. So this is just a simulation, because in reality, maybe we would be having a Google form that we have on our web page, and if a customer has a complaint, they can fill out that Google form, and any response from that Google form is automatically saved to a Google Sheets. So anytime a new complaint is made over the Google form, a new row would be added to our Google Sheets. But in this case, we'll manually add the complaints just to simulate that. Okay, so we have some complaints here. You can see some name, the name of the customer, email, the phone number, and the complaint. So let's look at, let's say, this one. I am done with you guys. The login page keeps on hanging. It's quite frustrating. So that's an example. So let's go back to the make scenario so that you can see how that works. So here we have the actual scenario. So you can see the first module is the Google Sheets. It checks for any new rows within the complaints Google Sheets. So let me just click on it to see how we configured it. So I added my Google connection and so forth. So picked the specific spreadsheet, which is customer complaints. The details are on sheet 1. Then does it contain any headers? Yes, which are these ones: name, email, phone, complaint. Then row with headers is from the A1 to D1, so that is A1 to D1, and the maximum number of results to be worked with during one execution cycle. So I'll click OK. Then let's go through the send an email. I have my Google connection already connected. Then I want to send the email to this email address. Okay. Then the subject, the content type of the email is HTML, so that we can use HTML tags. This is to introduce a space after every line. There's a new customer complaint, the name, the email, the phone, and the complaint itself. Then kindly action on it immediately. Regards. So I'll press OK, then we continue. So that's how it is. Let's add some new customer complaints so that you can see this practically happen. So I've gone ahead to add these 3 new rows of customer complaints. So Mark, Muroki, and Sojes have made a complaint, and you can see them. I was just lazy enough to come up with actual complaints, so you can see the effort I actually put in. But now we can go back to the make scenario and see this practically. So I'll go ahead and click run once. So you can see one operation is consumed to obtain any new rows added to the Google Sheets. Then 3 operations are consumed to send the email. So because there were 3 new rows, 3 emails are sent. Okay, and if I just click on the one over here, you can see 3 bundles were generated. So first bundle of data is for the first row, second row, and the third row. And you can see the details there. If I just expand the name, email, phone, all that. Okay, so these 3 bundles of data will send 3 emails. Okay, so if I go to the next email module over here, you can see 3 operations were done. The first operation was sending the first email, the second operation for the second email, so on and so forth. Okay, and if I go to my email address, I should see that. So here you can see the email addresses. So I'll just click on this new customer complaint. I had several emails before this for testing purposes, but we'll see the last 3 emails and we'll see the 3 new complaints. Okay, so here you see them. You can see, dear Mr. Mutiso, there's a new customer complaint. The first one was from Mark. I'm tired of you guys. The next one is from Muroki. Your service is too slow. And next one from Sojays, your payment processor ate my money. Yeah, so that's how operations work practically. You've been able to see that the first module always consumes 1 operation despite the number of bundles of data it gets back, and the subsequent operations happen based on the number of actions that are run. Okay, so where can you be able to see the overall operations that you've consumed for the month so far? So let me show you. So here in your Make dashboard, click on organization in the side panel. So this is our free tier plan, so it's just for my testing purposes. So you can see I have 1,000 operations and only consumed 46 of them so far. Okay, and the next month the operations get reset to having consumed 0 operations out of 1,000 operations. Okay, and this graph below here shows you how busy were the scenarios happening throughout the month. You can see, for example, September 14th I consumed 32 operations compared to the previous day, which I consumed 0 operations. So it's able to show you which specific days are your scenarios very busy, so that you can optimize and see how can I adjust my scheduling so that I can take the most out of that. Okay, so there's a key concept I want to explain over here. So let's just go to the actual scenario itself. So here, before you run your scheduling, deciding on how regularly do you want the scenario to be run, for example, if it's a polling trigger especially, it's important to ask yourself 3 questions. Okay, first of all is, how often do you want to collect the data? Is it daily, once a day? Is it once every hour, or once every 12 hours? You need to ask yourself this question. Okay, because you might find that you actually just need a report once at the end of every day, so you don't need to run it every hour. Okay, and also ask yourself, is it crucial that it runs at the set interval that you've put at the moment? So for example, by default we have it to run every 15 minutes. So in our case of watching for new customer complaints, we might find that there are specific hours that we don't really get any complaints at all. So for the Google Sheets module to be checking to see if there are new rows, it will always come back with 0 new complaints. But we know that the first module always consumes a single operation. So you can imagine if you set it to run every 15 minutes, that is 4 operations every hour, then those are 8 operations every 2 hours. Then if you extrapolate it and do, let's say, 4 times 24, that is 96, I think. Those are 96 operations. And if you assume, let's say, for that specific day, it got no complaints at all, you've wasted 96 operations and you didn't get any new customer complaints from the Google Sheets. So being able to ask yourself, how regularly do our customers make the complaints, so that you can adjust your scheduling accordingly. You can find out that actually setting it to run every 1 hour makes more sense, so that we can be sure that when it checks to see if there are new customer complaints, it actually gets it. You can even find that you don't get complaints that oftenly, so we can set it to run, let's say, every 3 hours or 4 hours, depending on your actual scenario. So it's good to know, how often is this repetitive task that we are trying to automate, how often does it happen within the day, so that you can adjust the scheduling accordingly. And the final question to ask yourself is, will you be running it just once every day? And if that's the case, you don't really need to come and schedule it over here. You'd have to come in and log into your Make scenario and click run once. So in situations where you're only running the automation once. Okay, So I just wanted to review the scenario dashboard for a single scenario. So I'll click on this back button so that you can be able even to see the history of scenarios that have been run in the past and the number of operations that were consumed. So here you can see the diagram itself, so of the make scenario, and here you can see the history of scenarios that have been run in the past before this time. So you can see at 5:01 p.m. or whatever that time is, the scenario ran and it was a success. If it was an error, you can see this would be an error. Okay, then to actually see the history, I'll just click on the history tab over here, which will be able to show me even the number of operations consumed for each time the scenario was activated and run. So you can see here, these are the different times the scenario was run, and you can see the number of operations consumed every single time. So 4 operations here, 2 operations here. In these 3 specific times it was run, only 1 operation was consumed, meaning that the first module checked to see if there are new rows but got 0 new rows. Therefore, only 1 operation was consumed. So this tries to show you that it's not necessary to schedule it more frequently at these specific times, because it's just a waste of operations. Then you can toggle this on, hide check runs. This means it's going to hide specific scenarios that were run but no data was actually retrieved. So you can see the scenarios that had 1 operation consumed get hidden. So that's a good feature. Then you can see incomplete executions here. So if I go to this tab, you'll be able to see if, for example, the scenario ran into an error, therefore the scenario was paused and the scenario wasn't run to completion. So here you can see it's currently set to no data, but to activate this, just click back over here and go to the actual scenario settings so that you can activate that. This is a good feature to have so that you can have details on the scenarios that weren't completed. So here I'll click on the actual scenario, then come down here to scenario settings, click on that. Then you see here allow storing of incomplete executions. You'll toggle this on to yes. Okay, but keep in mind that this actually takes in storage space. So for any scenario that wasn't executed, it being stored takes in storage space for your current plan. So that's why by default it's set to no. Okay, so let's go through the subscriptions and the number of operations you get in per month for the different tiers that are available. So for that, go to organization over here, then click subscription tab over here. So you can see my current plan is the free plan, but you can see there are several other plans. The core plan, which gives you 10,000 operations per month, and within each plan that you pick, you're able to even increase the number of operations that you have. So when I click on this drop down, you can see I can access more operations by paying more money. Okay, then the features, you can see them here on the right hand side. So I don't want to go through this because you can go and check them out, but just to tell you that you can be able to do that. Another feature to take note is if you're in the core plan or higher, core, pro, teams and the rest, you can set auto purchasing of operations when they get depleted. So this means whenever you run out of operations within the month, they can always bill your card to buy extra operations so that your scenarios don't get paused. So that's a feature you can be able to access in the paid plans. And yeah, that's it from me. Hope you've been able to see how you can be able to optimize and get the most out of your make operations so that you're not wasting operations and you're using them more efficiently. Look out for future videos that are coming in very soon on more advanced topics on make.com so that you can slowly move from a beginner, intermediate to a more advanced make.com expert. If you got value from this video, don't forget to click that like button. If you find value from this content, subscribe and turn on the bell down there so that you can be able to get notified when these videos come out. If you want to work with our team to be able to automate repetitive tasks or processes in your business, or even build any AI systems, there'll be a link in the description to book in a meeting with our team. Anyway, till next time, stay servy. Peace.